Hello and welcome. I'm truly glad you're here today. I really am, because in this world, attention holds a value far greater than money. Giving your attention to something means giving it your time in your life. And today, you've given that time to this place. I know how valuable that is. Now, before we begin, I need to ask you something. Please take this question seriously. Don't just listen and move on. Really think about it wherever you are in your life right now, your career, family life, financial situation, health, relationships, your thoughts about yourself. How much effort did you put into getting to where you are right now? Did you arrive at this point intentionally, knowingly, and willingly, or did life just drag you there? The answer to this question is unsettling for most people, because when you think honestly, you realize that a large part of your life is the result of a path shaped not by your decisions, but by chance, others' expectations, and your environment. As a child, they told you, be this. You became it or you didn't. You went to school because everyone else was going. You chose a career because it seemed safe, or your family wanted it, or it was the only option available at the time. You got married because it was time. You had children because that's what you do. You took a job because that's how it should be. No, it's easy to say that. Everyone says an idea that will change your life. Every book cover says this. Every speaker promises it, but I'm not making a promise to you. I'm presenting you with a truth. And whether you accept this truth or not, whether you apply it to your life or not, is entirely up to you. I'm just opening the door. Whether you step inside or not is your decision. Most of us are spectators in our own lives, not the actors, certainly not the directors. Today, we're going to change that, actually. There's just one idea I'm going to share with you today. It's not complicated. It's not technical. We won't get into a deep philosophical debate. But when you truly, deeply, and fully grasp this idea, down to your very bones, no aspect of your life will ever be the same. Here's the idea. Where you are right now and who you are is the result of the information in your mind. That's it. Simple, isn't it? Maybe it even seems too simple. You might say, yeah, we already know that. But there's a world of difference between knowing and understanding. And between understanding and living it, there's a vast ocean. Today, we'll cross that ocean together. For years, I've spoken to people. I've met people of different ages in different cities and countries. And I've realized this, everyone has a question in their mind, but very few can voice it aloud. That question is, why do some people, even though they have similar circumstances to mine, end up in very different places? Where is the difference? It's not intelligence, because the link between intelligence and life success is much weaker than we assume. After 40 years, he looks at his neighbor's field. His neighbor's field is fertile. The corn is plentiful, sturdy, and high quality. He makes good money with every harvest. Earl's field, on the other hand, is half barren. The yield is low. Some years he can't even cover the cost of what he's planted because the answer is so close that it's impossible to see. The answer is sometimes hidden in the most obvious place. The answer is right under Earl's boots, the soil. For 40 years, Earl has plowed the field without ever checking what he was planting. He never researched what minerals the soil needed. He never wondered why his neighbor had the soil tested every year, addressed nutrient deficiencies, and let the soil rest. His neighbor, however, listened to the soil. He looked to see what it needed. He addressed the deficiencies. He enriched it, prepared it, and then planted. Both worked under the same Kansas sun. Both received the same rain. Both spent the same hours. Both experienced the same physical exhaustion. But their soil was different. And because the soil was different, the harvest was different. Now let me apply this story to your life. What is your soil? It is your mind. It is your intellect. That immense, infinite, miraculous space inside your head. The greatest miracle humanity possesses. That complex structure scientists still haven't fully understood. A whole universe resides within that 1.5-pound mass. And what do you sow in that space every day? What's the first thing you look at when you wake up? Your phone screen, isn't it? For most of us, that's the case. Our eyes aren't fully open yet. Our brains aren't fully awake, but the phone is already in our hands. And what's on that screen? News, arguments, someone's bad day, mud slung at someone else. Where in the world an explosion has occurred? What crisis is unfolding in which country? Which celebrity has dumped whom? How badly the economy is doing? How bleak the future looks. After reading all that news, How do you start the rest of your day? With enthusiasm, with hope, saying, come on, today is going to be a great day. I'm going to do great things. Or do your shoulders slump a little more? Does your heart feel a little heavier? Do you think, no matter what I do, this world is just like this? That's why I told Earl's story. Because so many of us go through each day plowing away with our minds, but without looking at what we're sowing. Every day we go to that field, we work, we toil, we struggle. But we don't ask what's going into the soil. Then at the end of the year, at the end of 5 years, at the end of 10 years, we look back and ask, why is my life like this? All of this is knowledge. It all enters our minds. It all shapes the earth. And this knowledge has two sides. The first side, nurturing knowledge. This knowledge helps you grow. It broadens your horizons. It shows you possibilities. It says, you can do this. Here's how. Others have done it in the past, so you can too. This knowledge doesn't lull you into complacency. Instead, it spurs you into action. True nourishing knowledge doesn't offer false reassurance. It guides you. Nourishing knowledge includes feedback from people who love you and are also honest, stories of people who have built their lives, memories of your own moments of success, the words you tell yourself, I've done this before, I can do it again, books you've read that open something inside you, questions that expand your mind. The second side, toxic information. This information diminishes you. It narrows you. It shows you walls, not even letting you consider looking for a door. It says, this isn't for you. You're the kind of person who, this has never happened in our family. What's going to happen at this age anyway? Just give up on these dreams. Toxic information includes news sources that constantly spread negativity, gossip against you and those who bring it to your ears, destructive criticism delivered under the guise of being realistic, the words of people who belittle others' successes to mask their own inadequacies, and the most dangerous of all, the negative beliefs you constantly repeat to yourself. Scientists have also demonstrated this in a more systematic way. They divided a group of basketball players into two. The first group went out on the court every day to practice free throws. The second group did not go out on the court. They only practiced free throws in their minds. They closed their eyes and visualized perfect free throws in their minds every day. They held the ball, aimed, shot, and saw the ball go in their minds. A few weeks later, they tested both groups. The group that did physical training improved. But what was surprising was that the group that did mental training had improved by nearly the same amount. Your mind couldn't distinguish between real training and mental training. Now apply this to your daily life. Every day, you tell yourself, I can't do it. Every single day. This phrase echoes in your mind. Your brain registers it as reality, and then it labels you as someone who can't succeed. It prevents you from seeing opportunities. Or when you do see them, it makes you say, this isn't for me. Or when you try, it makes you back down at the first sign of difficulty. Because the brain loves consistency. It doesn't like behaving inconsistently with its beliefs about you. This is called cognitive consistency in psychology. We try to keep our behavior consistent with the reality we've mentally accepted. If you think, I'm an unlucky person, and an opportunity presents itself, your mind will downplay that opportunity or come up with reasons to ignore it, because seizing the opportunity and succeeding would be inconsistent with the belief that I'm an unlucky person. Now consider the exact opposite. You constantly tell yourself, I'm someone who can learn. If there's a way, I can find it. If others can do it, so can I. The brain records this too. And when you see opportunities, it says, this could be good for me. When challenges arise, it says, this is part of the learning process. The same external world, the same opportunities, the same challenges, but the mind is looking through a different lens. Now, let me give you another example. This time, a closer one. You tell a child for years, you're lazy. Every day, at every opportunity. When report cards come home, when they don't do their homework, when they don't clean their room, you're lazy. 2 words, but every day, for years. What happens when that child turns 20? You don't even have to say it anymore. They tell themselves, I'm lazy. I just can't do this. It's in my nature. It's always been like this in my family. They don't clean their room. They put off their work until tomorrow. They wait until the last minute to finish their project. Then they think, see, they were right. I really am lazy. But wait, is this person really lazy? Let me ask this. If this person, labeled as lazy, were to one day find their true passion, a field that fills their hours, ignites their spirit, and makes them say, let's go, the moment they wake up, what would happen? Watch closely. They could work for hours on end, without stopping, without tiring, without even noticing the time. Is he lazy then? No, he was never lazy. It was the information in his mind that made him seem lazy. A wrong label, a wrong belief, energy directed in the wrong direction. Now let's consider the opposite. Tell a child this for years. If you fall, you get back up. If you make a mistake, you learn. It didn't work out this time, but you'll try again next time. If you work hard, you'll find your way. I believe in you. What happens to that child? This has been studied. Psychologist Carol Dweck from Stanford University studied people for decades. She compared people with a fixed mindset to those with a growth mindset. Those with a fixed mindset think, intelligence and talent are innate. You either have them or you don't. Hard work can only take you so far. Those with a growth mindset, however, think, intelligence and talent can be developed. With effort, strategy, and the right guidance, a person can grow. And the result? People with a growth mindset eventually outperform those with a fixed mindset, even if the latter are initially more intelligent, because they don't give up in the face of challenges, because they interpret failure not as I'm inadequate, but as there's still something I need to learn. Where does this mindset come from? Largely from the information we've absorbed over the years, from the phrases heard over the years, from the seeds planted in the mind over the years. That's why the soil matters. Now I'd like to do a little math with you. But don't worry, this is my favorite kind of math, the math of life. Let's say a person sleeps an average of 7.5 hours a day. That leaves 16.5 hours. What do we do during most of those 16 hours? Studies show that the average person spends about 4 hours a day staring at a screen. TV, phone, social media, news sites. In some countries, this figure rises to 6 or 7 hours. Among young people, it exceeds 8 hours. Now let's ask this question. How much of the content coming from these screens actually adds something meaningful to your life? Does it help you grow, inspire you, teach you something, or add value to your life? Think honestly. And how much of it drags you down, angers you, instills fear, makes you jealous, makes you feel inadequate, or turns you off life? Now think about these ratios and do this calculation. 4 hours a day, 365 days a year. That's 1,460 hours. Every year, you're absorbing information from a screen for 1,460 hours. Multiply that by 10 years, 14,600 hours. Multiply that by 40 years, 58,400 hours. What could have been done with that amount of time? Just think about it. It takes an average of 1,500 hours to learn a language with 2 hours of serious study per day. That means you could have learned several languages with just a small fraction of those 58,000 hours. You had 10 times the amount of time needed to reach world-class standards in a specialized field. You could have started a business. You could have written the books that could have been written. You could have built the relationships that could have been built. But what did we spend the vast majority of those hours on? We watched other people's fights. We followed the arguments of strangers. We wondered about celebrities' personal lives. We chased after news that would never come. Now stop. I'm not scolding you by saying this. I'm not here to scold anyone, because I too fell into this trap. We all did. This isn't a weakness. It's about how the system is designed. These platforms, apps, channels, they're all built on one thing: keeping your attention for as long as possible. And what's the most effective way to do that? To make you angry, surprise you, intrigue you, scare you. Because a calm, happy, satisfied person closes the screen. A curious, angry, scared, or anxious person keeps scrolling. Once you understand this, you can stop blaming yourself. And once you understand this, you'll start making conscious decisions. And you decided to listen to this podcast today. That's the beginning of that decision. Now I want to ask you this. Where do you want to be 40 years from now? This question sounds simple, but most people can't give a clear answer because we're not used to thinking about 40 years from now, not even 10 years from now. Most of us live day to day wondering what will happen this month. But realize this, the place waiting for you 40 years from now is the sum of the daily choices you make today. It's the cumulative result of what you put into your mind today, what you tell yourself today, and who you listen to today. Imagine a ship. The captain steps onto the bridge and turns the ship 2 degrees to the left. Just 2 degrees. It doesn't seem to make much of a difference at that moment. The ship is still crossing the ocean. But a month later, a year later, that 2-degree difference means thousands of miles. It means arriving on the wrong continent. The small daily choices in your life are the same. Should you get up this morning and spend 10 minutes reading something meaningful or spend 10 minutes on social media? It doesn't seem important at that moment. But 100 days later, 1,000 days later, these paths lead to places far apart. I want to tell you a story. I've told this to different people in different cities over the years, and it always resonates with them in some way. Imagine a bus, a long-distance intercity bus. It has comfortable seats, is packed with passengers, and the engine is rumbling. You're a passenger too. The bus pulls away. It leaves the city. The roads open up. The speed increases. And after a while, you realize the view out the window isn't familiar. The route is unfamiliar. This bus isn't taking you where you want to go. What do? You tell the driver, or you wait for it to stop and get off, and you board the right bus. But notice this, many people don't do exactly that in their lives. They're on the wrong path. They sense it. Sometimes they see it clearly, but they say, I've already come so far. How can I get off now? Or they say, maybe it'll turn around somewhere down the road. Or worst of all, how do I know I'm on the wrong path? Maybe everyone's path is like this. Maybe this is normal. Maybe I'm expecting too much. They keep going and going and going. 40 years later, the bus stops. They look around. They're in the wrong city. So why didn't these people get off? Because there was a false belief in their minds. The belief that we've already set out on this path. There's no turning back. Or the belief that I can't take this train, someone else will. Or the belief that I can't know the right path, you just go wherever life takes you. And where did these beliefs come from? From the seeds planted in their minds over the years. You're too eager. Life isn't a dream. Keep your feet on the ground. Everyone stops somewhere, you'll stop somewhere too. And they stopped. But the truth is this, it's never too late to get off the bus. And it's never too late. I'm not offering you empty comfort when I say this. This isn't comfort, this is history. Think of Harlan Sanders. He retired at 65. He had a small recip. Multiply that by 40 years. 58,400 hours. What could have been done with that amount of time? Just think about it. It takes an average of 1,500 hours to learn a language with 2 hours of serious study per day. That means you could have learned several languages with just a small fraction of those 58,000 hours. You had 10 times the amount of time needed to reach world-class standards in a specialized field. You could have started a business. You could have written the books that could have been written. You could have built the relationships that could have been built. But what did we spend the vast majority of those hours on? We watched other people's fights. We followed the arguments of strangers. We wondered about celebrities' personal lives. We chased after news that would never come. Now stop. I'm not scolding you by saying this. I'm not here to scold anyone, because I too fell into this trap. We all did. This isn't a weakness. It's about how the system is designed. These platforms, apps, channels, they're all built on one thing, keeping your attention for as long as possible. And what's the most effective way to do that? To make you angry, surprise you, intrigue you, scare you. Because a calm, happy, satisfied person closes the screen. A curious, angry, scared, or anxious person keeps scrolling. Once you understand this, you can stop blaming yourself. And once you understand this, you'll start making conscious decisions. And you decided to listen to this podcast today. That's the beginning of that decision. Now I want to ask you this. Where do you want to be 40 years from now? This question sounds simple, But most people can't give a clear answer because we're not used to thinking about 40 years from now, not even 10 years from now. Most of us live day to day wondering what will happen this month. But realize this: the place waiting for you 40 years from now is the sum of the daily choices you make today. It's the cumulative result of what you put into your mind today, what you tell yourself today, and who you listen to today. Imagine a ship. The captain steps onto the bridge and turns the ship 2 degrees to the left. Just 2 degrees. It doesn't seem to make much of a difference at that moment. The ship is still crossing the ocean. But a month later, a year later, that 2-degree difference means thousands of miles. It means arriving on the wrong continent. The small daily choices in your life are the same. Should you get up this morning and spend 10 minutes reading something meaningful or spend 10 minutes on social media? It doesn't seem important at that moment. But 100 days later, 1,000 days later, these paths lead to places far apart. I want to tell you a story. I've told this to different people in different cities over the years, and it always resonates with them in some way. Imagine a bus, a long-distance intercity bus. It has comfortable seats, is packed with passengers, and the engine is rumbling. You're a passenger too. The bus pulls away. It leaves the city. The roads open up. The speed increases. And after a while, you realize the view out the window isn't familiar. The route is unfamiliar. This bus isn't taking you where you want to go. What do? You tell the driver, or you wait for it to stop and get off, and you board the right bus. But notice this: many people don't do exactly that in their lives. They're on the wrong path. They sense it. Sometimes they see it clearly, but they say, I've already come so far. How can I get off now? Or they say, maybe it'll turn around somewhere down the road. Or worst of all, how do I know I'm on the wrong path? Maybe everyone's path is like this. Maybe this is normal. Maybe I'm expecting too much. They keep going and going and going. 40 years later, the bus stops. They look around. They're in the wrong city. So why didn't these people get off? Because there was a false belief in their minds. The belief that we've already set out on this path. There's no turning back. Or the belief that I can't take this train, someone else will. Or the belief that I can't know the right path, you just go wherever life takes you. And where did these beliefs come from? From the seeds planted in their minds over the years. You're too eager. Life isn't a dream. Keep your feet on the ground. Everyone stops somewhere, you'll stop somewhere too. And they stopped. But the truth is this: it's never too late to get off the bus. And it's never too late. I'm not offering you empty comfort when I say this. This isn't comfort, this is history. Think of Harlan Sanders. He retired at 65. He had a small recip, okay? The information entering our minds is important. Our inner voice is important. We get it. But how do we change it? People have been asking me this question for decades, and I'm going to share the most practical, most effective, and simplest answer I've found so far. I call it the 3-step rule. The 3-step rule consists of 3 steps. Each one builds on the previous one. And when they all work together, the results will surprise you. Let your mind act as a gatekeeper and screen those who wish to enter. I'm not saying this as if it were something strange. I'm presenting it as a practical suggestion. Imagine a security guard at your door. Not everyone who comes can enter. He asks for their ID. He asks their purpose. He thinks, why is this person coming here? To uplift me or to bring me down? You can ask the same question about the information entering your mind. But be careful. This doesn't mean escaping from the world. It doesn't mean remaining unaware, ignorant, or living disconnected from reality. It means consciously choosing what gets in and what doesn't. What does this mean in practice? First, use the first hours of the morning consciously. The first 30 or even 60 minutes after waking up are extremely valuable. Why? Because during the transition between sleep and wakefulness, the brain is unusually open to suggestions and information. Scientists call this the hypnagogic state. Information absorbed during this state is processed much more deeply than in the normal waking state. And how are you using this precious time? For the majority who reach for their phones in a daze, check the news, or scroll through social media, you're wasting your most critical and receptive hours on content that angers or frightens you. Instead, you can do the following. Get up and sit in silence for a few minutes. Just breathe. Express gratitude for yesterday. Set an intention for today. It doesn't have to be fancy or philosophical. I want to complete my most important task today is enough. Then read a book for 5, 10, or 15 minutes. Something that enriches you, makes you think, and inspires you. Since this will accumulate every day, a year from now, the knowledge from dozens of books will be in your mind. Tell yourself positive affirmations. Don't look at this as strange. Research supports this. People who speak positively to themselves handle stress better, are more persistent, and take action more easily than those who don't. Second, limit your news intake. Someone once told me, if you don't watch the news, you'll lose touch with reality. I asked them, what percentage of the news you read 10 years ago is still relevant today? Silence. News is mostly information that seems urgent, but for the most part, offers no real value. You already learn about truly important developments from your surroundings, conversations, and the nature of your work. You don't need to be glued to the news feed every minute. Check the news once a day, at a specific time, and for a set period, and keep that time consistent. Third, review the content you consume. Who do you follow on social media? Does the content from these accounts inspire you, anger you, make you jealous, or make you feel disconnected from your own life? Do this. For 1 week, every time you consume content, ask yourself, how does consuming this content make me feel? More energetic or more tired? More hopeful or more hopeless? More motivated or more stagnant? The answers might surprise you. Who are the people in your life? And what are these people telling you? Do they lift you up or do they bring you down? Do they show you possibilities or do they tell you why it won't work? When you're struggling, do they say, keep going? Or do they say, give up, it won't happen anyway? There was a man I really admired named Jim Rohn. I read his work years ago, and one of his quotes stuck with me. He said, a person is the average of the 5 people they spend the most time with. I thought about it, and I saw just how true it is. If there's someone in your circle who's always complaining, over time, you'll start complaining too. If there's someone in your circle who's always making excuses, over time, making excuses becomes the norm for you. If there's someone in your circle who's always saying, it won't work, that's just how it is, over time, you'll internalize that mindset. But the opposite is also true. If there are people in your circle who are growing, learning, and developing, you'll grow too. If there are people around you who offer honest criticism but don't hold you back, you'll grow stronger. Now, an objection might arise here. I can't choose the people around me. I have my family, my coworkers, my neighbors. I can't change them all. You're right. You can't change them all. And you don't need to change them all. But here's what you can do. You can choose who you spend the most time with. You can choose whose advice you listen to most. You can choose whose opinions you seek on the various aspects of your life. If someone in your family is constantly speaking negatively, you don't have to discuss every topic with them. You don't have to share your dreams, plans, and hopes with everyone. And additionally, you can bring new people into your life. Find people who have already gone where you want to go. Read their work, listen to them. If possible, talk to them. I should also mention this. I'm not saying you should cut out those who criticize you from your life, because honest criticism is one of the most valuable gifts. The difference is this. The person who speaks the truth with good intentions is different from the person who belittles you and makes you pessimistic. Think of a surgeon. They're performing surgery. It hurts. But this pain is for healing. Someone else, however, touches you solely to cause harm. Both cause pain, but one makes you grow and the other makes you shrink. Evaluate the people in your life through this lens. This is the most powerful of the 3 rules, and also the hardest, but it's also the one you have the most direct control over. Because while it's possible to some extent to control the noise coming from outside, it's not always easy. Changing the people around you takes time and effort, but you can choose exactly what you tell yourself right now, this very moment. But to do that, you first need to learn to hear your own inner voice. Most of us don't hear our own inner voice. There's always an external noise. Phones, TV, music, conversations, and our own voice gets lost in that noise. Experience silence. A few minutes every day, just sit. Let your thoughts come and go. And listen to what that voice is saying. What is it saying? I didn't get anything done again today. That's a thought. Is it true or is it a habit? No one really understands me. That's a thought. Is it true or is it a story fueled by loneliness? I can't change. This is a thought. And this thought is less a reality than a reflection of resistance to the difficulty of change. Once you notice these thoughts, you can question them. Is this thought true? Is there evidence to support it? Or is there evidence to refute it? You say, I can't do it. But have you really never succeeded at anything? Never? Have you never achieved anything in your life? Of course you have. Maybe not big things, maybe things that seem small to you. But there are things. Remember those successes. Build a new story around them. I've succeeded at difficult things. Therefore, I can succeed at this challenge ahead of me, or even if I don't, I can learn from it. This shift in perspective isn't a magical transformation. It's a slow, steady, and repetitive process, but it works. The brain believes in repetition. Whatever you get up and repeat every morning eventually starts to feel real, and once it feels real, it shapes your behavior accordingly. This isn't a trick. It's about understanding how the brain works and using that mechanism to your advantage. I want to share my latest story. This story explains why transformation sometimes moves slowly and why it sometimes feels strange. There's a gardener. Let's call him David. Every morning he goes to his garden. It's a big garden. Colorful flowers, fruit trees, vegetables. But there's a problem. Weeds. Weeds are everywhere. They've crept into the flower beds, settled at the base of the trees, and blocked the paths. Their roots have gone deep, spreading beneath the soil. David walks into the garden, looks at the weeds, and thinks to himself, dealing with these is so hard. I pull one out, and two more pop up. I pulled them out yesterday, and today they're back. This is never ending. And without pulling the weeds, he starts planting beautiful flowers. He plants the flowers, beautiful, colorful, healthy flowers. But what does he see a week later? There are flowers, but the weeds have started to choke them. They're stealing the sunlight, stealing the water, stealing the soil's nutrients, and David puzzled. I planted such beautiful flowers, why didn't they take root? They didn't take root because they were planted without clearing the soil first. Many of us do exactly this in our minds. I'm going to think positively now, we say. I'll tell myself good things. I'll set beautiful goals. And we really do set them. We really do say them. But the old negative beliefs, fears, limiting thoughts, they're still there. They've taken root. And if you try to plant beautiful things without confronting them, those beautiful things will struggle to take root. So how do you uproot these beliefs? First, recognize them. What deep-rooted, old, harmful beliefs do you hold? I'm not lucky. Where did that come from? Who said it? What event reinforced it? Making money is very hard, and it's only for people who can do big things. How did you acquire this belief? Did your parents struggle financially? Did the people around you speak this way? I'm not a likable or interesting person. When did this thought first appear in your mind? Who said it? Or what experience made you feel this way? Become aware of these beliefs and then question them. Is this really true? Is there even a single piece of evidence to support it? Or is this just a sentence someone said in the past that I've carried with me my whole life? You'll often find that these beliefs stem from a careless remark someone made during your childhood. Maybe a teacher was having a bad day and said, "You'll never get this right." Maybe a relative made a dismissive comment. Maybe a moment of failure was so painful that your mind locked itself into thinking, "Don't take that kind of risk again," and you've been carrying that sentence, that moment, that lock for 40 years. You don't have to carry it. But I must also say this, pulling it out hurts. The roots run deep. When you pull, the soil comes with it. The garden gets a little messy. And don't let that mess scare you, because the flowers planted after the cleanup really take root. They truly grow. And seeing that garden a season later, it's worth it. I'd like to summarize what I've said so far and add one more thing. The information that enters our minds shapes who we are. Who we are determines how we behave. How we behave determines which habits we develop. And our habits determine our destiny. See this chain from information to belief, from belief to behavior, from behavior to habit, from habit to destiny. It all starts here with the information that enters our minds. Now, we can also read this chain in reverse. If you want to change your destiny, change your habits. If you want to change your habits, change your behaviors. If you want to change your behaviors, change your beliefs. If you want to change your beliefs, change the information in your mind. It seems simple, but not everything that's simple is easy, because every link in this chain resists. It resists change. The brain loves habits. It loves the familiar path. Blazing a new trail requires energy, and the brain doesn't like to waste energy. But this resistance can be overcome, and knowing how to overcome it is half the battle. Start small. This is the most important principle. People try to make big changes and usually fail. Why? Because a big change sets off a major alarm in the brain. Danger, something out of the ordinary is happening. Stop, the brain says. Small changes don't trigger this alarm. Read something meaningful for 5 minutes every morning. Just 5 minutes. The brain doesn't object to this. Expressing gratitude for 3 things before going to bed every night. Just 3 things. The brain doesn't object to this. Telling yourself something positive once a day, just once. The brain doesn't object to this. But these small actions accumulate. And over time, that accumulation makes a big difference. There's a concept the Japanese call Kaizen, continuous small improvement. This philosophy was applied in Toyota factories, and the result, one of the world's best automobile manufacturers emerged. Aim for a 1% improvement every day. Just 1%. Where would you be after a year of improving by 1% every day? Mathematically, you'd be 37 times your starting point. 37 times. That's the power of small, consistent steps. Now I want to give you a concrete assignment. The only thing I want you to do after listening to this podcast is this. Before you go to bed tonight, take a piece of paper and answer 3 questions. First question, what information is entering my mind the most right now? What do I do in the morning? Who is around me? What am I telling myself? Second question, where is this information taking me? To where I want to go or somewhere else? Third question, starting tomorrow, how can I change the information entering my mind? A concrete, small, actionable step. 1 step. Just 1 step. I want to go back to where we started. Earl's Field. The same sun, the same rain, the same labor, but different soil and a different harvest. You have your own soil. Each of you does. And what condition is that soil in right now? Is it nourished, enriched? Are good seeds being planted in it? Or is it tired, dry? Have the wrong things been added for years? I'm not asking this to judge. I'm asking to understand where to begin. Because soil can always be saved. Always. A gardener once told me, there is no such thing as dead soil, only neglected soil. Neglected soil can come back to life. It takes time. It takes effort, but it is possible. And your soil, that is, your mind can come alive too. Starting today, right now, everything I've shared today can be summed up in a single sentence. What you sow in your mind, you will reap. It's that simple, that profound, and that powerful. Where you are right now, who you are, how you feel, all of this is the result of how your mind's field has been cultivated up until today. But this doesn't condemn you. This sets you free. Take good care of your soil. Until next time,